All right, Scorpio, I typically read you guys on this side first. Read you on this side by default, but if it doesn't resonate, please feel free to switch the sides. Okay. Oh man, I can definitely see where the loving needs to be had here. Yes, yes, I love this card for this. All right, so I just haven't been telling you guys the placements. I do apologize. The first two cards that come up, that are coming up beside the Oracle card here, this indicates the mindset that both parties are going into this relationship with. Now, the second batch of cards here, the second pair, indicate the body, which is how you display yourself to the outside world, how other people see you. Now, the very bottom does give us a little bit of an explanation as to why you're displaying yourself the way you display yourself, as well as think the way you think. Now, this for your soulmate card here, soulmate pairing card, this is pretty much telling us how you guys, or what brought you two together. Okay, all right, this is the energy that brought you two together, and this is the challenge that you both face. Honestly, these cards couldn't be any further on point. Wow. Okay, yeah. Judgment is your underlying energy, and it's so understandably so, considering that either this is you guys or the other person, they've gone through some serious stuff. Something ended really badly. Now, I have a feeling that for some of you guys with this relationship, the situation's over. Some of you guys, right? And it can be the situation, it may not be. Please take this with a grain of salt. Sometimes the situation could be just fine, right? The relationship is intact, but there may be some things within the relationship or within the dynamic that's done. But the way this person is coming into this relationship, the way this person is thinking in this relationship is showing me that something ended very badly, and it's caused them a lot of pain. It's caused them a lot of pain, and they're having a hard time moving forward. They're having a hard time, not accepting the situation is over, but this, they're going through grief and pain accepting this, Now, the Judgment card is coming up here in this reading that does indicate that there is obviously, right, transformation, changes. This person is not going to be the same when they came out. And this other person as well is not going to be the same either, right? Even if it is the Nine of Cups, right? They're not necessarily desiring anything. They're emotionally content with how things are in this relationship. This is also the worst is over for the situation. And it kind of looks to me as well, right? If this isn't a breakup, which I really hope it isn't, and I hope I'm wrong about that. If this is not a breakup, this could be that the situation, wherever they were in, whatever situation they were in regarding their relationships with someone else, regarding love lives, regarding family, whatever dynamic they had going on, whatever happened in their current life, it's done. It's over. The worst is done. Right, the worst is over with their situation, and now it's all about healing themselves and moving away from the situation. Not in a we got to forget this, let bygones be bygones situation, but truly heal and move forward with prosperity and taking whatever was that's usable from the situation, meaning whatever lessons that you receive from this, onto the next phase for there to be prosperity and less losses, if that makes sense. So the recovery portion of this, moving forward, moving on, that's the challenge that you guys face together, right? The Six of Swords. And you could tell that one of these people here is having a hard time, healing. It's not having a hard time, but they're having to heal. It's a difficult healing process. Judgment is no easy feat. It's no easy energy. And Scorpio, that's your card right there, Judgment. Well, it's Pluto's. When your ruling planet is Pluto, so it's automatically your card, in my eyes. But there is some transformative energy here that both of you have to, you're both learning about yourselves. You're both having to love on yourselves, especially with a situation that's coming to some sort of end, especially with some sort of connection or some sort of situation that's come to some sort of close. And even if it is the worst of the situation, the worst of the situation being over, and it's a good ending, you're still having to heal from that. It's still something that does, bring up a lot of old issues and old pains. So it's understandable that this person with the Ten of Swords is coming up with the Empress, because they need to take care of themselves right now. They can't give of themselves. They can't give themselves to other people right now. They can't help anybody else until they help themselves. Now, this does kind of give me, it makes me feel a little bit of a certain way, because some of you guys may have experienced some sort of passing recently, and if that's the case, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope there was no passings, but if there has been any, someone, someone that's passed recently, someone that's very close to you, someone that's within the family, hopefully not someone that's a mother, someone's mom. Hopefully, everybody's families are good. But if there has been a loss, this person is having to go through a difficult transition of their life where they have to learn to, to cope with what's happened. And that is something that's extremely difficult. And they're going to need all of their energy devoted to that, or at least most of it. You know what I mean? But they have to learn to take care of themselves, and love yourself first can set it best, right? Love yourself first. And it's not about, having self-respect for yourself, but it's more of like allowing yourself to, it is have something to do with having respect for yourself, having self-respect for yourself. But it does talk about, showing yourself care and showing yourself love that no one else can really ever give you. No one can give you that love and support that you can give yourself. And I think this is one of those cases. And I'm not saying the other person should stay back and let that person heal themselves and you can't get involved. That's the least thing I'm seeing, okay? Because I feel like this person with the Nine of Cups, they may have the most happiest thing happen to them while this other person is going through some sort of disaster. I see like yin and yang kind of difference, like white and dark, like black and white. But it's not, nothing is ever black and white. Everything is like a different version of gray. But this is so starkly different because this person here is maybe coming from a situation where, where they're finally happy and content with how the relationship is, or perhaps finally content to have a relationship with somebody they've always wanted to be with, right? This is a dream come true for them. This is them knowing exactly what they want, and they're going along with it, right? Because here's the other person showing the Nine of Cups how they think of this relationship is they're happy. They're very, very, very happy with this relationship. This person is going through some endings, some period where they're, either been betrayed and they're having to work through it. They may have lost somebody that's family-wise. They may have gone through some difficult situation with somebody relationship-wise, and they're having to take care of themselves, learn how to be independent, be the person that they need to be for themselves, to stand up for themselves. They're having to move on from those situations, but this person is in a good place. This person is in love. This person is in love with themselves. They love themselves. They love the people around them. They're, obviously, right? If they love themselves, they can give of those cups because they have so much love to give. It doesn't run out. So they are in a good place. They're in a place of love, and they are moving forward. They're coasting, right? They're not moving in a sense of haste. They're not pushing things forward. I think they're just, they're taking advantage of how blissful and amazing and how, flowing things are going, while this person may need their love at this moment. They need their support. But this is not about other people leaning on other people. This is about loving yourself. So I feel like this person is going along with with their environment right now, moving forward, taking advantage of the pacing, of their lives, of how things are moving forward. I don't think they're taking advantage of you, Scorpio, if this is you on the other end feeling horrible, right? And I don't think you're taking advantage of them and this is you on the other side feeling good. But this person is moving in the flow of life. And that's, also the Eight of Wands can indicate the arrows of love. So they may be falling in love, fast and falling in love hard. But the reason why I feel like this person is able to be in a state of bliss and to just kind of go with the flow and not really abrupt anything and just kind of making great progress where they can and continue to grow and to continue to expand themselves is because of the Two of Swords. And this is a very interesting card to get here because this does talk about, not, be feeling stuck at a crossroads, keeping the balance of a situation and not really making a decision. Well, I feel like it's kind of the quite opposite, as a matter of fact. I feel like the reason why this person is able to make great progress, able to move forward very fast, and they see, the way they think about this relationship is the Nine of Cups, something that they've always wanted. This is something that, they're in a blissful place of happy, is because I feel like they don't keep themselves in a situation where they're indecisive. They know their truth. I'm going to actually pull one more for that. Because the Nine of Swords is so interesting to get here. Because everything looks so fine. It's like, but the reason, I think it's because they made a sacrifice or made a decision that they believed was hard in the first place. Yeah, look at that. I just shuffled a little bit and then the Fool came out. Or the Fool's underneath the deck. Yeah, it's because they They didn't let their thoughts, they didn't sit there thinking about it. They just went with it. They went with what they knew was true. And this is the best decision that they feel that they made. Because they made a difficult decision. They took the blindfold off. They trusted themselves. They loved themselves enough to know that if it was the decision that didn't feel good to, to honestly make at the end of that decision making, that they would be able to recover. They had faith in themselves. Now, this person has to find faith in themselves now, not because they don't believe in themselves, but because they need to heal through a situation that has been so difficult and taxing on themselves. But both parties have changed and transformed, and this is a situation that both parties are working together to grow together, to transform together, to move on to another phase together. The Six of Wands, the Six of Swords is not really a challenge, because it's not moving on alone, it's not moving on just together, but it's growing together, and it's honestly, it's a challenge, of course, because moving on from something difficult is no joke. It's very difficult. But I don't see it really as a challenge. I see this more as the path that you guys are on at this moment. It's not like you guys are having problems working together to move on. It's more of like, is what path or what passage that you guys are writing right now to get to a place where you guys can really start hashing out challenges. You know what I mean? Because I don't think this is a challenge. I think you guys are actually just fine. It's working on making a new beginning from a situation that definitely did not feel good and definitely felt awful closing. Whether it was your decision or their decision or anybody's decision or some sort of, or fate or whatever. Right, let's take a look at the Messenger Oracle. Wow, respect your boundaries. And this doesn't mean that, hey, you need to make sure that people stand in line, because that's what that means too, but it means give yourself that time that you need. Give yourself the time that you need to recover. Give yourself the time you need to overcome the difficulties that you're facing, right? The worst is over. But it's still time, but it gives you time to recover, because real recovery, real healing does take time. And there ain't no need in rushing it. Now, this is the message that the Respect Your Boundaries card says, okay? Others will not respect the emotional boundaries that you set within your relationships if you do not respect them yourself. Know yourself, love yourself. If you do not accord yourself with the same care you desire from others, then you will not be shown care. If you do not honor your own truths and decisions, then no one else will. Oh, wow, okay. Honor yourself by treating yourself with the same care and in the same manner that you wish others treat to you. That makes a lot of sense with this card. Now back to this real fast, because this was pretty much wrapping up this reading, but I got something else now. Reading that, click something for me. Something makes sense. Now, it didn't make sense where the Two of Swords is coming up, because this is a brand new beginning, taking a leap of faith. This person trusted and just made a decision with whatever they needed to make. But at the same time, right, this looks like you're handling a situation, the situation of death, right? And I say death, not in the literal sense of somebody having to, maybe losing a family member or losing someone close to them, it meaning like something ending and making space for a new beginning, right? Because that's what this is all about. I feel like this person is moving forward and taking care of their own stuff and dealing with the situation that they have right now, because they do not see anything outside of themselves at this moment. They don't see anything. They don't see anything going on. But you guys going through a difficult situation and mourning right now, what it looks like, you guys are being emphasized to take care of yourselves, because this person don't see you in a situation where you do need love. And I'm not saying that, it's your fault that they're not giving you the love that you deserve or the love that you want to feel, but I feel like if you show yourself love and care, this person will be able to see that. Moving forward together will be a process that is a challenge now that I see it, because you have to first acknowledge that you're in pain, Scorpio, or the other person. Whoever this person is in pain right now, you have to acknowledge that you're in pain. You can't just show that you're in pain. You have to acknowledge it. Because the Three of Swords, what is this card talking about, right? What does this card look like? It's a card, it's three swords and a heart, right? But you don't see no bleeding. This is not a fresh wound. It usually indicates this card has, this heart has been like this for a very long time, which means it's been ignored. It hasn't been recognized. It hasn't been realized. But when the card comes up, it's like, it is time to accept and to acknowledge that you have pains that need to be healed. And that's exactly what it is. It's time. You have to acknowledge, to respect your boundaries. Love yourself first. Self-respect. All these cards come back up to say, hey, it's time to recognize that how much pain that you've endured, and to truly let those heal and be, and let them flow through you. Let them be gone. Let yourself move forward. Let yourself move and be free from these energies, free from that past pain, free from those, from the traumas, from the pains from the past. It's time to be free of those things by you recognizing that you have these pains still, and and just need time to love on yourself to move forward. And I think that will be able to, that will, trigger to the whole world that you do need love, TLC. You know what I mean? You need care. You need to, you need comfort. You need to just be taking care of yourself. And I feel like that's why all this is coming up. Not that, and it's not to manipulate the other person into, taking care of you and loving you. It's about just loving yourself, because the other person don't see no problems. They just see happiness and gold on the other side. They're just in a good place. They're happy. To them, this is great. They're happy. They're in love with you. Things are moving great in their life. They don't notice that you're in pain because they don't see it. They don't see it. They don't see that you're in pain. And it's not because you didn't make it known. It is not because, I don't think it's really your fault that they don't see it. Not in the sense of like, hey, if you want love, you gotta say something. It's more of like, you gotta just be aware of your own pain, and the rest will follow. Right? Communicating it helps as well. Communication helps so much. Communicating honestly is what makes this relationship move fast for this person. Makes them fall in love even more. Makes, this is what they're in love with the most, is the communication. That's what they're avidly doing. They're communicating. They're moving forward. They're making progress. Communicating does help too. Telling them how much you're in pain and how much everything hurts. That helps. But most importantly, respecting your boundaries and putting yourself in a situation where you respect what you need, so that way people can respect what you need too.